thought he would be given a little bit more time, but clearly they've decided to make a change very, very quickly, which is a huge shock, is a huge surprise. But I guess now it's who comes in next and how quickly can they get that person in.
Straight to Stamford Bridge now to speak to our reporter Rob Dorset, who's got some breaking news on Chelsea's search for a new manager. Rob, what can you tell us?
Yeah, big breaking news. I can tell you that Chelsea now have a verbal agreement for him to become the new head coach at Stamford Bridge. That's happened this morning, as I mentioned to you about half an hour or so ago. Talks have continued from early this morning between representatives and senior executives at Chelsea to try and finalise some of the contractual details. And now that everything has been agreed, it's just a matter to sign that contract. There are still one or two legal details that need to be addressed and issues to be discussed around his backroom staff. But as I say, big breaking news, has now agreed verbally to become Chelsea's new manager, and things expected to move pretty quickly from here. We've been saying all morning on Sky Sports News, haven't we, that we expect him to be confirmed as the new Chelsea manager within the next 24 hours. Things are moving faster than that now. Verbal agreement in place, still legal and contractual issues to sort out. Now look, we need to say that there are still, those are quite complicated. You know, if you appoint a big contract, we expect it to be a long-term contract, by the way, then the legal issues around that, the contractual issues, are going to take some time. There's a lot of minute detail that they've got to go through. And this has all happened so quickly. Remember, it was almost exactly 24 hours ago, 10 o'clock yesterday morning, when Chelsea announced that they had sacked. So things have progressed very, very quickly to this point. He hasn't signed the deal yet, but that's only a matter of time. He now has a verbal agreement with Chelsea to become their new head coach. I should just mention as well, we told you about 45 minutes ago on Sky Sports News that Chelsea hold an interest in the sport team. They've got verbal agreement to get him. It's now down to the final contractual details to be signed before they can announce it publicly.
He's a good manager. I just wonder, you know, he had the Scott Parker situation where he criticised the owners, the transfer policy, the players a little bit. He's done that once or twice already this season. Clearly Todd Bowley has thought, right, enough's enough. We need somebody else in. But I guess who comes in next? The name that obviously immediately springs to mind is he's taken responsibility for the games, but he said, you know, we can't play like this. We're not aggressive enough. We're not high tempo. We haven't worked hard enough. Performances aren't good enough. Clearly, I think we could all see that something wasn't quite right. But like I just said before the news broke, I think we all assumed that was a little bit of a hangover from last season and what had happened and happened obviously with the ownership of the football club. Signings then coming in, Todd Bowley taking the reins as not only owner but chief exec, chief scout, chief of recruitment, chief of everything effectively. That hasn't gone as smoothly as maybe some thought it should do this season. I thought he would be given a little bit more time, but clearly they've decided to make a change very, very quickly, which is a huge shock, is a huge surprise. But I guess now it's who comes in next and how quickly can they get that person in, says teams. You know, they are about working hard, desire, and that's what fans want to see. Fans will always accept mistakes, they will always accept technical deficiencies, but they won't accept lack of hard work and lack of desire. And when a manager starts to question that, you start thinking, well, are the players playing for the manager? Maybe they weren't in this instance. Maybe there's something else that's gone on that we don't know about that may come out sooner rather than later. We find out a little bit more, but yeah, really surprised to hear that news this morning.
To Zinedine Zidane as well. His odds are quite short on this. You throw a Brendan Rodgers name into this too, but we believe Zidane names at the top of Chelsea's list. What do you think about that?
Their new head coach. I've been told that Chelsea have been very impressed by the breadth and depth of his knowledge about their squad in talks with his representatives. They've also been impressed with his single-minded focus on the way Chelsea want to play and also his desire for the job. One thing that's really stood out in talks with his representatives has been his obsession with possession and positional play, and that is what has made him the leading candidate.